Welcome back to the Kearsarge Chronicle. I'm Lori Lauritsen, and this is Kevin Simone, and we're at Clark's Hardware. And last week, Kevin, you told us all about the new line of Benjamin Moore paints, and we started talking about colors. And there's a huge array of colors that can be mixed. But what happens if a lady or a man comes in with an item that there's a certain color on this item and they want to match it exactly? What do you do?
Okay, well, that's a very common question asked of us because people are matching colors into upholstery that they might have, or typically trying to match a color that they've used before and not necessarily wanting to repaint a whole room. So we've got a couple of ways of going by that. What we use is a photospectrometer, and all we need is a color sample that is required about the size of a quarter or a little bigger. And we will put that into this photospectrometer, and I can give you an idea of just how that works. We can match, and by the same token, we can use anybody else's manufacturer. We can use a Glidden paint, we can use an Ace paint as an example. We can pull all these different paint manufacturers out of our computer system and then match up one of the Benjamin Moore colors to what the other paint company has.
Well, that's interesting because we just had a lady bring in a dish towel and she wants to paint the trim in her kitchen to match this dish towel. So, do you suppose that you could match this paint for her?
Well, we could most definitely do that. We could get it very close. We'd want to establish, firstly, what she's going to paint, whether it be trim, as Laurie says, or a wall, and we'd give her the appropriate sheen of paint to match this. So I can show you this very short process that's needed to match the paint to this dish towel.
Now, you said the sheen.
Yes.
There's eggshell, there's flat. What are the different sheens?
So basically the sheens run from a flat, which is the flat, or a matte, through an eggshell to a semi-gloss, and then to a gloss, and increasing in sheen as you go along. As an example, a ceiling is a very, very flat finish because it hides any blemishes that might be on the ceiling, but by the same token, it's not very washable. Now, one of the wonderful things about the Benjamin Moore line is that all of the sheens are washable, even their flats, so it's pretty revolutionary in the selection that you have. You're not just restricted to, say, a satin finish in a room that might need a little more, say, a playroom that might need a little more scrubbing or cleaning than a living room.
Well, that's great because I know when I painted my back hall last year, I just grabbed a can of paint and didn't think about the fact that it was going on woodwork, and I got a fairly flat finish. So it is harder to keep clean because it wasn't one of the Benjamin Moore paints. It was a very good paint, but I should have chosen a more satin finish than the flat finish. But it worked out all right.
Yeah, sure.
But she's going to do it in her kitchen. It will be woodwork. So what is your recommendation for a sheen for this?
Well, typically on woodwork, where it's going to get beaten up a little bit through vacuuming or sweeping or hands on it, we would recommend a semi-gloss, which is lower than a gloss, which might be a little too sheeny, but a semi-gloss would be a good one to stand up to cleaning and abuse.
Oh, that's great. Now, Kevin, can you walk us through the process, how you would take this towel and match it and show the machine that's going to bring out the tints?
Sure. So where we would start off is by making sure, firstly, that the photospectrometer is calibrated, which we do on a daily basis first thing in the morning. Then I would take this piece of material, whatever it might be, and put it in and take a couple of shots of it in the photospectrometer. The computer reads it to our screen, and at that point I would choose what paint and sheen that I'm going to recommend to the customer, feed that information, and the computer will automatically come up with what we would need to reproduce this color. It's a pretty foolproof system in that it gives me the formula of paint that I need. And at that point, we would go select the paint, read it to make sure it's the correct one, and then the computer will continue to give us readings as to what we need to do to dispense the actual color. At that point, we would do the dispensing of it. We would shake it up for about 3 minutes once it's done and we've sealed it. And then at that point, when all done, take a little dab, put it on a piece of paper, and see how well it matches to the piece of material or whatever piece of paper, anything that needs to be matched. And as I say, at that point, the computer also allows us a little bit of tweaking of the formulation that I feel might be needed if we want to change it just slightly. So it's as easy as that, really. The computer allows us to do a lot and takes a fair amount of the guesswork, but still allows us to do some custom formulation if we.
Thank you, Kevin. That's very interesting. So if any of you are interested in doing some painting at home and you have questions, please stop in Clark's Hardware. Kevin will be happy to answer your questions, or one of our other paint experts that are here. And we'd love to see you. Take a look around. We've got a lot of other different paints also that are very interesting. Back to you.